Welcome to Cheater Confessions. Let's get started with today's story. I hadn't planned on showing up at the reunion. 10 years had gone by since college, and I'd left that world behind without much desire to look back. But my old friend Gareth called me 3 times in 1 week, telling me it would be good to make an appearance. Gareth was persistent, so I gave in. On Saturday night, I walked into the ballroom of the Regent Hotel. Clusters of familiar faces filled the room. I headed toward the bar for a whiskey when I heard her voice. "Russell Hale," Valerie said, drawing out my name like she owned it. She looked polished, black satin dress. She carried herself the same way she had back then, confident, calculating. I hadn't seen her since the week after graduation, when she told me I lacked ambition and needed more drive if I wanted a future with her. That was the last conversation we ever had. "Valerie," I said evenly. Her eyes swept over me, and the corners of her mouth lifted. "Still keeping close with Gareth? Some things don't change." Before I could reply, she slid her arm around the man beside her. Tall, sharp suit. Watch that caught the light just so. "This is Damian Voss. He just joined Lunaris Systems. They're expanding fast. Big contracts, big funding." Damian extended a hand, his grip firm. "Good to meet you," he said like it was a formality. Valerie smiled, tilting her head. "It's exciting being with someone who knows where he's going. I remember how uncertain you were after graduation. No real plan, no vision." Damian chuckled, adding, "Ambition and timing. That's everything. You move fast, or you get left behind." That's when Valerie leaned in close enough for me to catch her perfume. "I found someone better, Russell. He has ambition. Real ambition." Her words were crisp, meant to cut. I didn't flinch. I raised my glass. "Happy for you." Damian grinned. "We just closed a massive round. City contracts are next. Big opportunities." Valerie smiled at him, then at me, that same old smugness shining. She wanted me to feel small in that moment. Instead, I just nodded, calm, steady, and let her think she had won. The reunion dragged on with the usual chatter, but the moment with Valerie stuck in my head more than I cared to admit. I left early, but Sunday morning my phone buzzed. A message from her. "Breakfast at the Bramble Cafe, 9 a.m. Damian will be there too. It'll be good for you. Don't say no." I should have ignored it, but curiosity won. I hadn't seen Valerie in nearly a decade, and I wanted to know why she suddenly cared if I showed up. Damian was already at the cafe when I arrived, sitting in a corner booth. Valerie waved me over like nothing was strange about the setup. "Russell, glad you made it," she said, sliding a menu toward me like she still knew what I liked. Damian leaned forward. "I'll get straight to it. Lunaris Systems is going after the Aurora Transit Modernization Project. Huge city contract. Cybersecurity is the gatekeeper, as you know." He smiled, confident, like we were already partners. "I hear you've got connections there. Thought you could point us in the right direction." I set the menu down. "I don't do introductions for contracts. If Lunaris qualifies, the city will see that." Valerie frowned, her tone sharp. "Russell, don't be difficult. This is an opportunity to scale, not hide in the shadows with your small projects." "Small doesn't mean insignificant," I said calmly. "I choose clean deals, that's all." Damian chuckled like I'd just missed the joke. "Come on, no one plays clean at this level. We're talking about a $100 million initiative. A word from you could open doors. We'd take care of you, of course." I kept my voice level. "You don't need me. If your system is as good as you say, it'll pass." Valerie's smile thinned, irritation flashing in her eyes. "You always did think too small." I stood, dropped a 20 on the table for coffee I hadn't touched, and said, "Enjoy your breakfast." Their confidence followed me out the door, but I knew it wouldn't last. By Monday evening, Gareth called me. "Russell, you need to be at the Innovation Showcase tomorrow. City wants external evaluators for Aurora Transit. They specifically asked for you." I agreed. Hale Stratagem, my firm, had built a reputation for airtight audits. It wasn't glamorous, but it was trusted. Still, I didn't mention it to Valerie or Damian. Let them keep thinking I was playing small. The showcase took place in the old university auditorium. Startups lined up to pitch their tech to city officials, auditors, and a handful of external experts. Gareth waved me toward the front row. My name placard was already on the table. Russell Hale, lead security consultant, Aurora Transit Modernization Project. I sat down, adjusted my notes, and let the room settle. That's when Damien walked onto the stage with two associates in matching blazers. He looked charged with confidence, grinning like a man about to take victory laps. Valerie was in the crowd, sitting close to the aisle, her smile wide when she spotted me. She didn't know yet. He spoke well. Slides flashed across the projector, graphs, bold claims, market potential. Then, halfway through, his rhythm faltered. His eyes dropped to the evaluator panel. He saw me. For a moment, he didn't blink. Then his voice cracked before he regained it, pushing through the rest of his presentation at double speed. His confidence drained as fast as his rehearsed pitch collapsed. From my seat, I didn't react. I simply took notes. Whispers ran through the front row, other evaluators noticing the tension. Valerie finally caught on. Her gaze darted from Damien to me, and the color drained from her face. She leaned forward in her chair, eyes narrowing, realization dawning. I wasn't a forgotten ex with small projects. I was the one determining whether Damien's company would even clear the first gate for Aurora Transit. The silence after his final slide was heavier than applause. Damien swallowed hard. Valerie's hands tightened around her purse. And in that moment, the story she'd built about me cracked wide open. 2 days after the showcase, I was back in my office at Hale Stratagem when my assistant buzzed me. "Russell, there's a Valerie Hale here. She says it's urgent." I sighed and told her to send Valerie in. She walked through the door like she owned the place, carrying the same confidence she'd wielded at the reunion. "This is impressive," she said, scanning the glass walls. "Bigger than I expected. You've been hiding." "I haven't been hiding," I said. "You just weren't looking." She smiled tightly. "Let's cut to it. Damien's pitch didn't land the way it should have. You're in a position to help, and I can help you in return." She stepped closer. "I could come on board as a strategic partner. Business development, networking, opening doors, that's what you're missing." "No," I said. She blinked, surprised at the speed of my answer. "You didn't even think about it. I don't need someone repackaging contacts and calling it strategy, and I don't mix my work with old personal ties." Her lips pressed thin. "You're being stubborn again, Russell. You always were. This is how people get left behind." I stayed seated, calm. "If you want to build something, build it. But not here." She left with a stiff smile, but I knew that wasn't the end of it. The next morning, one of our clients forwarded me an email. The signature read, "Valerie Hale, partner, Hale Stratagem." She was already using my company's name. By noon, 3 more had come in. I forwarded everything to our counsel, Celine Armitage. She drafted a cease and desist before the day was over. "This isn't someone testing boundaries. This is someone who thinks she has a stake in your success. We'll shut it down quickly, but don't underestimate her persistence," Celine said over the phone. Valerie thought she was climbing into my world. She didn't realize she was about to lose her footing completely. By the following week, Valerie had shifted tactics. The cease and desist hadn't slowed her down. Instead, she went public. Her LinkedIn post hit my inbox early Monday morning. A long essay about male gatekeepers blocking women from leadership in tech. She never used my name, but every detail pointed to me. College ex, now a consultant influencing city contracts, refusing to give deserving talent a chance. Within hours, comments piled up, some sympathetic, most skeptical. Then alumni started weighing in. Gareth was the first. "Funny, Valerie. I remember you telling Russell he'd never go anywhere the night after graduation. Now he's running a firm and you're suddenly the victim?" Others joined. Screenshots of old posts resurfaced. Her bragging about dating ambitious men only, mocking people who settle for small projects. The same words she'd once thrown at me in person. The thread flipped against her in real time. What she thought would be a rallying cry turned into a reminder of who she'd always been. Meanwhile, Damien and Lunaris systems weren't holding up either. Word came down that Aurora Transit's review committee had flagged their application. They'd claimed a partnership with Hale Stratagem in their proposal, something I never agreed to. That alone was enough to trigger disqualification. Celine made sure my recusal from evaluating Lunaris was documented, keeping everything clean. The city board announced the decision on Thursday. Lunaris Systems was out of contention for Aurora Transit due to misrepresentations in submitted materials. That night, Damien left me a voicemail, his voice stripped of its earlier bravado. "Russell, I didn't know Valerie was using your name like that. I should have caught it. I'm sorry." I deleted the message without a reply. Valerie had wanted me to look small beside her new, ambitious man. Instead, they'd both managed to make themselves look reckless, while all I had to do was remain steady. The next day, my phone lit up with messages. Valerie, first indignant, then pleading. You owe me. I stood by you when you were nothing. We can fix this together, Russell. Don't be petty. Damien wasn't right for me. You always were. Let's build something real now. I answered once. Any further contact needs to go through counsel. Do not use my name or company again. After that, silence, at least from her directly. Damien reached out days later, this time by email. His tone was different, humbled. I've resigned from Lunaris, he wrote. The board forced my hand. Valerie kept insisting we leverage your firm's reputation. I should have stopped her earlier. I regret it. For what it's worth, I never wanted it to go that far. I didn't respond, but I believed him more than I believed her. 2 weeks later, Valerie tried one last stunt, sending a demand letter through a lawyer claiming I'd verbally promised her a role during her visit to my office. Celine laughed when she saw the wording. We have audio from the lobby cameras. This won't last. She was right. Within 48 hours, the lawyer dropped her. For the first time in weeks, my phone stayed quiet. But I knew better than to think Valerie had accepted defeat. People like her didn't accept defeat. They tried to rewrite it. 3 months later, Hale's stratagem landed the biggest contract in our history. The announcement made headlines in industry circles. Reporters called me a quiet force in cybersecurity. I gave the standard interviews. No drama, no name-dropping. The work spoke for itself. That same week, Damien asked for a meeting. I agreed, out of curiosity. He arrived at my office without the polished swagger he'd shown at the reunion. I wanted to tell you in person, he said. I've joined a new firm, smaller team, stricter governance. They don't play fast and loose with contracts. That's why I took it. He hesitated. And I wanted to apologize again for not shutting Valerie down. I should have known better. I studied him for a moment, then nodded. Ambition isn't the problem. Direction is. Make sure you point it somewhere solid. He managed a small smile. Lesson learned. Then he left. Later that week, Valerie emailed me directly. Subject line, let's fix the story. She wrote about how the narrative had gotten twisted, how we could still present ourselves as a power couple who built an empire together. She claimed she could handle the perception problem if I gave her an opening. I didn't reply. Valerie still hadn't realized the truth. There was no story left to fix. Whatever we'd had ended 9 years ago. Her trying to graft herself onto my success now didn't change that. The more she reached for relevance, the more she revealed her desperation, and the less I had to do. By staying calm, consistent, and professional, I'd won without ever throwing a punch. A year later, Gareth called. Russell, you better come to this one, he said. The reunion committee's spotlighting notable alumni. You're on the list. I almost laughed. Last time I walked into that ballroom, I was the man Valerie wrote off. Now they wanted me front and center. I agreed. The Regent Hotel looked the same, but the energy was different. When Gareth introduced me to the room, the applause was short, polite, but unmistakably respectful. No smugness, no sideways smirks, just acknowledgement. I spotted Valerie near the back, half hidden behind a cluster of former classmates. She wasn't dressed like the queen of the night this time. Someone whispered she was working at her father's property firm again, helping with rentals. Nothing wrong with that, except for the contrast. It wasn't the empire she used to imagine. Our eyes met once. She looked away first. Back when Valerie told me I had no ambition, she thought ambition meant flashing money, loud deals, constant climbing. She never understood it could be the long, steady work no one claps for until years later. I didn't build Hale's stratagem to prove her wrong. I built it because I wanted to see if I could. And the irony was simple. The ambition she claimed I lacked was the very thing she could never recognize. She'd said she'd found someone better. She was wrong. The truth was, I just found my own way. Thank you for watching.